Good morning, team. We have some stash diving to do. So grab yourself a project and let's go have a look at all of my stash and figure out what we are going to do with it. So next to Teddy's excavator, you can see the lift up. Yeah. And in there is a load of yarn and projects. Ideally, I want to empty this out because it's not so easy for me to get access to, and I would like to put different items in here. Most of the yarn that is in here is something that I've past me has bought it and I want to use it, but it's not necessarily what I would choose given the choice today. So let's get it all out and then go through it. I have all of this yarn in here. I'm going to take it out and show you, and then my plan is to use up a lot of it. This isn't going to happen overnight, I am aware of that. And then eventually this can be emptied out. But as you know, I have been trying to go through all of our items and clear out things that aren't necessary. I've been through the cupboard under the stairs, our pantry, and the cupboard at the top of our stairs, which is our linen closet. And I've also been through our closet, and we have weeded out loads of things that we don't need. I spent the whole of yesterday morning photographing stuff for Vinted and was £120 up within a couple of hours, so that was a win. Basically, I'm just trying to clear out as much as possible so that what we have, we truly need and it truly serves us. And I feel like a lot of this yarn is not, that's not it. It's not that. It's not that. I was gifted this bag by Josie Rose Knits. And it has one of Teddy's sign language labels on it still. In here is a cardigan that I was making for Teddy. And in previous winters, he has worn a hoodie with a hand knit cardigan over it, and it is such a vibe. It's this vintage pattern. It's a Peter Pan Aran, and I was going with the red version for the collar. And I made the back. This is a Hobbycraft Tweedy yarn, and then I was using stash yarn to do the sleeves, and I did this little detailing. And then I have started the fronts multiple times, and now I have come to a point where this needs to be frogged. So in previous winters, Teddy was happy wearing the hand knits. This winter that we've just been through, he would not. He was refusing to wear them. So there's no point me knitting something that he isn't going to wear. I considered continuing anyway and maybe gifting it on. And I also considered continuing, and then if we have future children, they could wear it. But I think I'd rather recycle the yarn and make it into something that I could wear. There is around... This was originally a 400 gram ball and I used bits of it. So I would like to say there's about 300 grams left. And then I have this one that was sent to me by a friend when she was having a yarn de-stash. And then this is a Mr. B yarn that was gifted to me. So, and then with the black and the other bits and pieces I can put in there, I think I can make something that fits me. This back panel does actually fit me, but the sleeves are only like half the length of what I need. And that's why I'm thinking potentially I could extend these so that they are the size that I need. But then I don't know that I would wear this colour, and that's where part of my problem does come in with a lot of my stash. It's not necessarily colours that I would gravitate towards. My other option is I can make some baby knits, and then I can either keep them in case we have future children, or I can just gift them to the new babies that arrive in church. But because this is hand dyed yarn, it's not machine safe, so it does reduce who I would gift that to. So this is a frog project. Need to figure out what I'm going to do with that yarn. I bought 800 grams of this from Aldi, and I used nearly 400 grams of the first ball, and I made myself an Aran cardigan. However, my tension was really loose and the fit is just really poor. I still have it and I could frog it and put this into something else, but I'm at a point now where I don't know if I want to make a really involved Aran knit with this, because this yarn I don't feel has any longevity, and I want beautiful yarns that are worthy of all of the hours that I'm going to put in. So I'm not sure what to make with this. I don't know whether to just make, but anyway, I have that yarn. Next up, I have all of this. This is a 59p ball of double knit yarn, and it's from Woolworths. I was gifted this when somebody cleared out their stash. It's 100% acrylic. It's a really nice colour, and I think there's about 500 grams, and I have started multiple projects with it and then just not continued. So I started this like fisherman rib type thing. I wasn't really enjoying it, but there's enough there that I could make a decent sized blanket, or I could make a sweater of some sort. It's giving me fluff. This yarn I do really want to use up. I got this from Yarndale about 2018, 2019, and this is Polo & Co, and it's 100% wool, and this is from a French producer. It's made in France, and I loved how like rustic and woolly it is, and I did really like the colour. I'm not sure that these colours suit me now. I don't know. And again, I worked on this quite a bit when I was pregnant, and I kept making, I made this huge panel. Can you see it? And then I just stopped, and I can't tell you why, but I have this thing where I get part way through a knitted project and then I just doubt every single choice. I doubt the pattern, I doubt the sizing, I doubt the yarn, and then I just abandon it. So I've spent hours and hours and hours on projects where I just don't finish them, and it ends up with things like this. And then I think I was making a smaller one and decided it was too small, so I was like, let me make a massive one. So then I made a massive one and was like, I think it's too big. And then I started on the front, and there's a pocket there. I think part of my thinking in starting the bigger one was that if I make a small one, I'm going to have yarn left over, and I didn't want random bits of yarn left over. Whereas now I'm thinking maybe I should just continue the smaller size, and if there's yarn left over, I can put it into socks or whatever. So that is partially complete. I've done 2 fronts, and I think I know what pattern this is. So 2 fronts. I've actually pinned that pocket back so it's not flapping around like this one. And then I have the back. So that means I just need 2 sleeves and to join it. Yeah, so do I go with the big size and maybe not have enough to finish it? Or do I go with the smaller size and then have some left over? I need to finish one of them at least. So I need to figure that out, and also that yarn really needs a wash, which is what has put me off using it as well. It needs washing and blocking, but until I'm certain what I want to continue with, I've just left it. This is mainly Aran weight yarn from the pound shop. I bought loads of it I was going to make a big Aran cardigan, and guess what happened? I started this panel, which is beautiful, and then I just had all these doubts in my head and I stopped. It's gorgeous. And again. And I've done the same thing where I started on a size, decided that it might not be the right size and started a slightly smaller size. So I've got both of these panels. I am thinking that I need to commit to this and make it into an Aran sweater of some sort because it's beautiful yarn. Then this yarn is similar, that it is plain Aran, but it's 100% wool. No, it's not. It's a wool and acrylic mix that my grandmother gifted to me. Now the issue I have is that it was a couple of different yarns. Can you see the ever so slight difference in colour? So I need to go through and figure out what belongs to what so that when I'm making the project, it doesn't get mixed up. And again, I started making Teddy a jumper. This is a small one, and then realised he's just not going to wear it. So if you put together all of the knitting hours in all of the panels I've shown you, I would have a beautiful Aran something finished. So I need to go through those two yarns, figure out what belongs to what, so that I can make a big item. I then have absolutely tons of these granny squares in here. I made them for a project which I frogged but kept the granny squares, and I've really wanted to make a granny square jumper that had crochet panels and was knitted together. And when I had the idea, a pattern like that didn't exist on Ravelry, and since then a pattern like that has come out on Ravelry. So I don't know whether to just download that pattern and use it, or continue just having a go because of the things that it will teach me in doing that. And it doesn't mean that I ever have to release this pattern. And also in looking at the pattern that they made, I could see there was some like structural differences in the choices that I would make. So I don't want to be seen to be stepping on anybody's toes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have 20 of these. I did find a couple more knocking around somewhere. So it'd be 10 on the front, 10 on the back. And I could potentially use, this is the joining colour. I have the makings of what is that bag pattern? I have a takeover pattern, the makings of takeover here, and I was making it in black and white checked, and I have made most of the lining pieces, and I have been taking apart this little sweater that I sort of self-drafted. Look at that cable detail. I self-drafted this, and I was going to steep down the middle and make it into a little cardigan. I did this when I was heavily pregnant, towards the end when knitting and crochet didn't make me sick. But by the time Teddy was born, by the time he was born, I doubt he would have fitted in this for more than about a week. And he was also born around the time that we had a 40-degree heat wave. So he was never going to get any wear out of it. I've made the straps, lining pieces. So this just needs to be put together, basically. So that can be finished, and then that bag can go into my wardrobe. You also have this, which is a panel of granny squares that I was putting together around December, January time. I just wanted to make a blanket, but I didn't have a joining colour. To be honest, I should have just bought the joining colour, because I started a different setup, then I went on to this, and I still haven't made the blanket I want to make, and here we are in May, and I have ordered the colour now. But I liked this idea of having each section join in a different colour of pink, but I don't have enough pinks in my stash in the quantity that I require to continue this. So again, I don't know if I will order the yarn to complete the vision, or whether I will frog this. Some of the deciding factors. Deciding factor one, if I'm ordering yarn, which I don't have the budget for right now, I don't want to continue, because whatever new yarns I get, I want to make some granny squares out of and make sure that they are included in all of the panels. So I'd need to take back a few squares out of these and add in whatever new shades I get. So this is going to be on long-term hold until I get that yarn. My other deciding factor is that I have just purchased a joining colour to make a big, huge, massive blanket. And so I don't need this to be the size that I was thinking of making it. So I could potentially make each panel half the size of what it is. So rather than being this size, I could make it more that size. And I think then I could do that with largely what I've got in stash. I would need to check. I have a real thing of like not wanting to waste yarn and make things that just aren't going to get used, and then that's in direct like contrast to I just love making them, and do I have to have a place to store them, and do I have to use them, and can I not just make them because I just enjoy making them? Okay, this is, I've been making these giant granny squares, can you see them? And the yarn has got like a glitter. I will not lie, I did not enjoy working crochet on yarn this thick. So I had a lot of this Aran weight yarn in my stash. It's like a really heavy chunky Aran, absolutely beautiful, and I wasn't entirely sure what to do with it. And so I decided that I would, because it's quite rough and rustic, I decided I'd try and soften it up a bit. It's just drops mohair, and I went with like this mushroomy colour, and I was holding them together, but then I also had some other yarn to use up. So I decided to put in a bit of sparkle, which is not soft and does not make it feel any softer. Oh, I can show you the mohair balls. I've got the Drops Kids Silk, and it's in colour 20. Don't know that it has the name on here. And it's 75% mohair, 25% silk. So I was holding them together, and then I decided to put a strand of the glitter in as well. And it created this really nice fabric, but it's super thick. And I was thinking maybe I'll make granny squares. It's not working. I tried smaller granny squares. I just didn't like working on it at that gauge level. Like, it was too thick and too heavy going. So I have quite a bit of this yarn, and then some of it I would need to take out the mohair and the glitter, which might be really difficult. And then I have in this bag the same yarn, but I decided to hold it with a strand of double knit and a strand of mohair, and I caked loads of it up because I originally was working on a, look at that, it's so soft and squishy and beautiful, but it makes it more than a super bulky, and I was having gauge issues like I always do. And I've started this pattern so many times. It's the Billy Zip pullover, I can't remember. Anyway, it works up really nice. It's really thick, really dense, but I realized that I'm making it as like a, I think this would be better as a jacket because it's so thick. and it would just give me a lot of protection from the outside world. However, when I destashed, I gave away the strand of double knit, and I know the person has used that double knit up, so I'm at a point now where I don't think I have enough of this yarn to make the jacket that I would potentially make. I'm going to need to weigh what I've got, have a look at some patterns and consider what I can do with it. And then in here I also have some of this yarn, which I bought from Hobbycraft a long time ago, and I didn't have enough to make a full garment. Originally I was going to hold it double with something, and my plan changed, and I've then since then made a cushion cover, so I'm going to need this little bit to complete the cushion cover by joining it together. But then I have another maybe 200 grams of it down here that I want to use up, and it's 100% synthetic. It's not natural, but it's like a really nice fluffy. So I didn't know whether to try and make a little slip over with it, if I've got enough. So I'm gonna need to weigh a lot of these yarns and then go through Ravelry and be like, have I got enough? And then my absolute dread is that I will get part way or very close and lose at Yarn Chicken. That would be gutting. Keeps on giving in here. This is a project I was working on for Teddy, which I now think I need to frog because I don't believe he's gonna wear it. So this is a granny square coat that I was making for him, and I have put a zip in it. It's just pinned in for now. I figured out my next steps. This actually fits me pretty well. It's just the sleeves would be too short, and then I was going to line it with this grey so that it would be nice and warm and thick. With his sensory needs, I'm not sure that he will tolerate this, but I was watching a vlogger the other day and her children were wearing crochet cardigans, and Teddy pointed at them and said they're wearing Mama's crochet, and I explained to him that their mama had made it, but that Teddy's mama could make him a crochet cardigan, and he did nod, but whether he will wear it is another thing. I don't know. I could finish it because I will learn a lot in doing it, but I don't know that it's ever going to get worn. I don't know who I would gift it to or sell it to if it wasn't to be worn either. So I have like 10 balls of this yarn in my stash that need using up as well as the lining. And I'm kind of kicking myself because I don't like grey. I bought it for something for Teddy. If I'd bought like a more neutral colour, I could just use it for me. This is another project that I worked on when I was pregnant. It's a big, huge, massive scarf. And I held double knit black with all my scraps. And then you basically just wrap it around like this. I think I stopped because I showed a friend at the time and she was like not getting the vision, and she was like, that is far too big, what are you going to do with that? But this is what I was going to do with it. I'm just going to wrap it around my neck, and then I could wear like a cardigan in the rustic, and then I could have this wrapped around, and how warm and cozy would I be? And also it's so big as well that if I wanted to, I could my neck. I could place half of it around my head and it become a hood. Look at it. Look at it. I love it. What do you think? So I don't know whether to finish the ends off and that be a whole vibe, or to frog it. What do you reckon? I think I could get quite a bit of use out of this in the winter, to be honest, because I really struggle with regulating my temperature, and I think this looks cute. It's also a lot easier to wear when I don't have my afro. So cozy. If I frog it, I could put it into other patterns, but if I just leave it as is, I could just start wearing it this winter. Okay, so I have a lot of this yarn in my stash. I have about 1 kilo of it, and it is the Shetland Tweed Chunky by Woolcraft, and it knits up in this like fleck tweedy. And I originally, this yarn, I rushed out to buy it because I saw a pattern when I was visiting my grandmother. I saw a pattern, I really wanted to make it, so I rushed to the shop and purchased this yarn. And it really sticks in my mind because I put this yarn on my credit card. I had no right or no business buying yarn at the time, but I wanted it so badly, and I bought it, and I went back to my nanny's and I started casting on, and then I had like the buyer's regrets kicking in because I don't know what I was thinking buying this pink. It's not a colour I normally wear. I do tend to wear a lot of neutrals, and the pattern that I was trying to make was really involved. It was like a pullover, it was a sweater, and it had these like lace, it had cables, but then it had lace tracks for you to put ribbons in. And I was just thinking, this with ribbons, and it's just got so much going on. And if I'd have bought this in neutral, I would have finished it and I'd be wearing it. But because it's in pink, especially with the fact that I like my hair colourful, I like my clothing just very calm. And also we have our home very neutral and very calm, and I can add in colour when I want to, but then I don't have to deal with it all the time because I do find it really overstimulating. So I am determined to use this yarn because I put it on my credit card and I got myself into further debt for this. And the debt, I am still paying off that credit card today because I had it majorly cleared off, and then I added a load on when I was pregnant with Teddy. And I'm down to like the last £500 on there, interest free, but it's still on there. So I refuse to give this away. I want to make something out of it. And every time I look at it, it's a reminder of like how far I've come, how different my choices are. And so I'm like, look, should I just keep pushing and keep trying to make something, or should I just give it up? I downloaded the Petite Knit Wednesday sweater pattern or something. I just don't like the yarn. I don't think it suits me. The reason a lot of my stash busting is not granny square related is because I do actually really love knitting, and a lot of the Aran yarn that I've accumulated was with a specific project of Aran knitting in mind. And I'm not gonna lie, there's not that many crochet garments out there that I look at and think, oh, I really want to make that, it's really beautiful. I also have a great big tub, like an IKEA Kallax cube full of scrap yarn that I want to absorb into more scrap yarn projects. And I also have an entire Kallax cube full of cotton yarn that I'm trying to use up. I started some dishcloths, but friends, when I think that I have got an entire cube, which is probably 2-3 kilos worth of yarn, that's gonna be a whole lot of cloths, so that's not going down anytime soon. And I also then have some hand dyed yarn that I've never known what to do with. Started a project, do not like it. I put so much money into some of this yarn, and I've learned that it's just not my colours, and I think I might just have to make peace with that and just let it all go and start with the yarns that I am truly drawn to. I love all of my colourful yarn for my double knit that goes into granny square projects, but for anything I'm going to wear, I like neutral. I like the luxurious yarns, I like the way it feels, I'm really into the texture, and that's where I am at. This is living in my little granny square tote bag. It's a tote bag that I got from Hobbycraft, and I added granny squares to it. The yarn is this Aran knitting yarn in gold ochre. I purchased this around December time. It's 75 grams a ball, and if I'm honest, I shouldn't have bought it, and I was just looking for a dopamine hit, and it's relatively cheap yarn. I thought they were 100 gram balls and they were 75 grams, and I bought 8 of them. So I thought I had 800 grams to do a really nice Aran something or the other. I actually have less than that, and I'm struggling to trust the process of, is it the right yarn, the right size? Am I going to wear it? And this is not a quick make either, and a lot of the stuff I want to make is not quick makes, and yet I have quite a lot to get through, so it may be just as well that I let certain yarns like this one go, because I have a lot to be working on. Anyway, I started it and decided that I wasn't quite keen on the cardigan. I didn't want to do it in pieces. So I did start one that was top down in the round, and I've started it like 3 times now, and I kept messing up the raglan increases, and I think I've about cracked it, and then I've walked away from it that long now that I have no idea where I'm at. I don't know whether to just list the yarn on Vinted and be like, if I make £1, I make £1. It's not going to recoup what I've spent on it, but it's out of my stash and out of my hands. So I don't know whether to sell this and sell this. Maybe a bundle of the cotton yarns as well. I have enough cotton yarn there that it will last me the rest of my life. So I either pass some of it on and sell some of it on, or I put some of it in the loft. And when I am in my 80s, I will be pulling from that to make my dishcloth still. My main goals in stash busting, all of this, is to make space, and with that I also want to make items that I will wear and that my family will get use from. And I want to, my main focus is that we are prepared for this winter, so I want to make sure that I have lots of blankets and warm clothing that I can layer, and that I've got hand warmers and socks and scarves, and that I've got all different items that I can pull out and just layer up, so that no matter what the weather is out there, I know I'm warm. We love spending time outdoors as a family. We love different things, glamping and camping, and like going on walks and hiking and just exploring in the woods. So I need to make sure I've got clothing for that, but I also want it to look cute. Some of my reasons for using this up is that it's been in my stash forever, and it just needs to be made into projects so that I can clear the space. If I was given the choice between the money and some of this yarn, then right now I would choose the money rather than the yarn, because my tastes have evolved over time. But that's not to say that I want to see all of this go to waste. And I've already given away so much. These are the bits that I want to keep hold of. Next project in here, I have this, and it's absolutely full of granny squares. I've started joining some together there, and then changed my mind and started doing this one instead. But it's full of granny squares. I started making all these granny squares to use up a load of stash. I have loads of scraps in a Calyx cube, so I was like, well, I'll just make granny squares, and I have all of these, and the cube is still absolutely rammed, so I could literally make like 4 times this amount. I want to make a really big, huge, massive blanket that goes on our bed and on Teddy's bed, and potentially the sofa. My hesitation with the sofa is that Albie uses the sofa and he just leaves his hair everywhere, and I just don't want to see these objects get destroyed. Somebody commented previously like it's just covering them with love and they'll be well used, and that it's better that it's used rather than just being stuffed in this ottoman and never used. Final thing that's in here, other than my sewing machine and a bag of toy stuffing and my little mini iron, is this bag of whips that I have started and don't know what to do with. So first thing in here is this bow motif, which I absolutely love, and I think that needs to become a blanket of some sort. And I also made it in a smaller 2 round version as well. How adorable and cute is that? I also have in here, yes, the comfort pouch in Mighty. I think I was going to call this the sleeve. So I've got the comfort sleeve, and it has a zip, and it is lined with crochet. And then I made a smaller version, and it still has its joining yarn inside of it. They are probably going to become sub-squad patterns. This is a panel that was abandoned. I originally made my comfy pouch this size and realised it was too big, so I ended up taking it all apart. I reused a lot of the yarn, but not that. Then this I started putting together because I had a garment idea. However, I'm joining it in the Aran, the pound shop Aran, but the granny squares are DK, so I had to go down to a 3.5mm hook, and I'm just not enjoying it. So I've decided, despite having done a lot, I've done this, and I've done this, that I'm gonna take this apart. I've actually ordered a double knit in this colour, and I'm going to use double knit to join it instead, and then I can have this Aran to go back with the rest of it, and then I can make a slightly larger project from that. I just was not enjoying the 3.5mm hook with Aran weight yarn. It was hurting my wrist, and I know I did a lot of it. I just have part of the front doing the sleeves bit. These are the changes I'm making. I also have this, which was originally the cover for my planner, and I want to revisit that and make some changes to this. So this is like a prototype, and make another one. And again, I'm not sure what to do with my planners at the moment either. And then in here, I also have this heart that I made out of 2 round granny squares. And this one, which I love and needs to become more projects. And then I have this cushion panel, which is using the fluffy yarn that I am going to use to join this. And I think this is also going to become a sub-squad panel as well. So I have another one of these it's going to become a sub-squad pattern as well. I have another one of these panels upstairs, and I need joining. I need to get the cushion pad. I did have crochet cushions on the sofa, but it just didn't work because it was picking up so much dog hair that it just looked grubby and dirty, and it was embarrassing when people came round. And also I just don't want to see my hard work getting mashed up like that. And I like to keep things nice so that when I have future photo shoots, I can pull them out and them still be in a decent condition. So I'm probably going to make a display out of all of these items on my bookshelf upstairs, and then redistribute the books throughout the house instead. And then I have like an area then that I can sort of display these, and they'd be nice but not be messed about with. I also have a little join as you go project that I started and changed my mind on because of just the sheer amount of time it's going to take. So that can probably go in the stash scrap. Wowza. I have a lot to frog, and then I need to weigh each individual item, and then I need to go on Ravelry and see what I could or couldn't make with the items. I'm going to show you 3 projects, and I want you to let me know whether to frog or finish. So pattern 1, no, I'm going to show you 4. First up, the pink granny square blanket. Do I frog? Do I finish? If I finish, in what way? Am I making it slightly smaller? Do I just go all in and make it massive? Do I know where this would go in my home other than on a display cabinet? No. But also know that when my niece visits, she would love to borrow it as well. So it wouldn't go without love. And I just absolutely love making them. Frog or finish the pink blanket? Frog or finish the massive scarf? I am leaning towards finish because I think this with a Aran cardigan will just look really, really nice. And on those crisp winter days where there's sunshine, as long as I'm wearing thermals and then I've got all of these on, I will be snuggly and looking cute when we do our forest walks. But can you see how it just picks up Albie's hair and it winds me up so much? He doesn't wind me up, just the amount of fur that he drops winds me up. Frog or finish the big massive scarf. Does anybody want that as a pattern? I am adding to my freebie section on my website, so would anybody interested in that or not? Next on the frog or finish, Teddy's coat. Frog or finish. Can we have a moment please for the granny square detailing? I wanted the zip to look like it went down the middle of the granny squares, so I made half granny squares to go on either side. How cool is that? So do I finish it or not? I am going to show it him and I'm going to ask him whether he'd like me to finish it and whether he'd like to wear matching with Mama. If he says yes, then I'll continue, and if he says no, then I think I will frog it and potentially put the squares into a little blanket of some sort that can go to a baby boy at church, and I will then just make a version of this for myself instead. And I don't know what I will do with all of this grey. I'll probably put it on Vinted and just sell it. Frog or finish Teddy's coat. Last one is my polo Aran cardigan. Is this a frog or finish? And if it is a finish, am I going with the small size or the big size? So this is the small size. I think I went a bit too small, but with blocking it will be okay. I do wear my clothes quite oversized. I think this big one, if I'm honest, I probably went too big, especially with the amount of yarn that I've got. I think this is too big. So do I frog or finish? And if I'm finishing, am I going with the small or the big? I do have the pattern somewhere. The only thing is, I'm not sure what size needle I used, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Frog or finish the polo cardigan. This I have plans for. Some of my whips I can finish off, no problem. That is about ready to be tested and then released. This needs to become some sort of cute blanket or maybe some sort of cute pullover. Is that too twee to have that on a garment? And am I at a point in my life where I am ready to start designing garments again, really? I'm not sure where the money's coming from for the tech editing, that is for sure. But I think that looks so cute, especially like Christmas themed. I just can't envisage the rest of the garment at the moment. I'd like some other cute motifs to put in the blanket with it. I just haven't gone that far yet. That one is percolating. I have an idea for these as well, so they will get used up. It's more just this lot that I'm not sure what to do with. If anybody goes over to my Ravelry, you will see that my favourite, everything in my favourites is pretty much Aran cardigans, like lots of cables, really intricate, really involved, and I think I need to just pick one or two or three or four and just do them and try and make the gauge swatch and do as many measurements as possible, and then just trust the process and make it. And if at the end I make it and I really don't like the sizing and there is some issues, there's nothing to say that I can't take it all back and redo it, because I enjoy making them. I just actually need to finish making them too. Alright team, that's everything that I had to show you today. This is, I think, attempt 2 of me starting a stash bust on my channel. I started another one not long before I got pregnant, so for obvious reasons that was derailed. And now I am back on the stash bust, and I will say that I feel more committed this time because we are trying to streamline our home. We have prioritised what we need to be storing, and I just work better in a space that is less cluttered. I want to clear my way through a lot of this yarn and then just invest in beautiful yarns that I absolutely adore and can't wait to work with and just work on 1 or 2 projects. And rather than having all of this waiting for me, I just want a couple sweater worths waiting for me. And I don't need a lot of these items. I don't need a lot of clothing, so I definitely don't need a lot of yarn. And I feel like that's a really big thing for me to say, but I will not be destashing or reducing down the amount of double knit acrylic I have for my granny square patterns, because I love making those far too much to ever let that go. So thank you for joining me. Let me know what you would frog and finish, and I will see you in the next instalment, whenever that may be. This series is like another strand in my life where it's ongoing, and it will be for some time. And thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, toodle pip, take care, bye, toodle pip.